The Myth of Solo Success: Why Black Women Are Rewriting the Rules of Entrepreneurship. Thank you all for being here today. I'm truly honored to stand before you to share insights that have fundamentally changed how I understand success, power, and community. These revelations came through my profound conversation with Ivory Flemister, a visionary researcher and advocate whose work is quietly revolutionizing entrepreneurship for Black women across America. Before I dive in, let me tell you about Ivory. She isn't just studying economic trends, she's mapping the invisible networks that power true transformation. Her groundbreaking research has uncovered patterns that most economists miss, revealing how collective power functions as the true engine of sustainable growth. What makes Ivory extraordinary isn't just her brilliant analysis, but how she's creating spaces where theory transforms into practice, where barriers crumble and new models of prosperity take root. She's not just documenting change, she's catalyzing it. We've all heard the quintessential American entrepreneurship story. It's practically sacred in our culture. The lone visionary with extraordinary grit who pulls themselves up by their bootstraps, overcomes impossible odds through sheer determination, and emerges triumphant as a self made success. This narrative is so deeply embedded in our collective consciousness that questioning it feels almost sacrilegious. But what if this story isn't just incomplete? What if it's fundamentally misleading? What if the most powerful entrepreneurial journeys aren't solitary at all, but profoundly interconnected? What if the true engine of success isn't individual exceptionalism, but intentional community building? This is the counterintuitive truth that emerged from my conversation with Ivory. While Black women owned businesses are growing at an extraordinary pace, outpacing the market in both firm creation and revenue growth, the true catalyst behind their acceleration isn't just individual grit, it's the deliberate construction of collective ecosystems. Let that sink in for a moment. The narrative we've been fed about entrepreneurship being a solitary battle against the odds is not just incomplete, it might be fundamentally wrong. Black women entrepreneurs are thriving precisely because they're creating networks for mentorship, capital access, and community uplift that multiply their impact far beyond what any one founder could achieve alone. This approach doesn't just challenge everything we think we know about success, it completely rewrites the rules. Consider Natalie Madeira Caulfield, founder of Walker's Legacy, a national professional collective empowering multicultural women in business. Early in her career, Natalie experienced the profound isolation that comes with being the only one in entrepreneurial spaces. The loneliness was crushing. The barriers to capital seemed insurmountable. The lack of mentors who understood her specific challenges was demoralizing. But instead of accepting this reality, Natalie made a revolutionary decision. She would build the ecosystem she needed, not just for herself, but for thousands of women facing similar obstacles. Today, Walker's Legacy offers networking events, business education programs, and accelerator cohorts specifically designed for minority women founders. The results are extraordinary. Thousands of members accessing new markets and funding streams, with alumni reporting significant revenue increases after participation. What's revolutionary about Natalie's approach isn't just that she succeeded individually, it's that she created a platform where collective success became possible. She understood that her own advancement would mean little if the path remained equally difficult for those coming behind her. Walker's legacy has now expanded into over 10 US cities with partnerships with major corporations like Google for startups, But the true measure of its impact isn't geographic reach, it's the creation of scalable models for peer led entrepreneurial development among underrepresented groups. This isn't just one organization making incremental progress, it's a fundamental reimagining of how success happens. Or consider Jewel Burke Solomon, a young Black woman engineer who co founded Part Pick, developing visual recognition software for industrial parts procurement. The statistics Jewel faced were staggering. Less than 0.35% of all venture capital goes to startups led by African American females. The credibility hurdles were immense. But rather than accepting these barriers as fixed realities, Jules strategically leveraged Atlanta's robust network of minority tech professionals. She participated in local pitch competitions. She sought angel investment from diversity focused funds like Backstage Capital. The outcome? Part Pick was acquired by Amazon less than 4 years after founding, a rare exit milestone demonstrating the high growth potential possible when diverse founders receive early support. What makes Jewel's story particularly powerful is how she drew on her family legacy. Her grandfather owned an auto shop, but reimagined it through technology innovation tailored toward overlooked markets. She didn't just succeed individually, she inspired increased venture capital attention on minority led tech startups nationwide. Then there's B. Dixon, founder of the Honey Pot Company, who struggled to find natural feminine care products designed with diverse consumers in mind. B faced limited startup capital due to low approval rates from traditional lenders, a challenge disproportionately experienced by Black female entrepreneurs. She also weathered vicious racialized social media attacks following her national retail expansion. B's response? Community centered resilience. She relied heavily on grassroots marketing within African American wellness communities while seeking non traditional investors who understood the value of mission driven brands serving underserved consumers. Within 5 years, the Honeypot Company had grown distribution into Target stores nationwide, with annual sales exceeding $20 million as brand awareness spread through word of mouth advocacy campaigns focused on health equity. B, transformed personal pain points into purpose driven innovation and kept company values rooted firmly in service even during viral controversy. She secured major retail partnerships despite industry skepticism about demand for culturally inclusive products, proving untapped market potential exists when diverse voices lead product design decisions. Perhaps most significantly, the Honeypot Company helped normalize conversations around wellness needs specific to Black women across mainstream retail channels, creating cultural impact far beyond its impressive sales figures. These stories reveal a profound truth. The most successful entrepreneurs aren't just building businesses, they're building bridges. They're creating pathways for others to follow. They're establishing support systems that make success more accessible for everyone. This approach stands in stark contrast to the competitive, individualistic model that dominates our cultural understanding of entrepreneurship. It suggests that true success isn't about outperforming others, it's about bringing others along with you. In our conversation, I've reemphasized that this collective approach isn't just morally admirable, it's strategically advantageous. When entrepreneurs build supportive ecosystems around themselves, they create resilience against market fluctuations, access diverse perspectives that drive innovation, and develop customer bases that are deeply loyal because they feel genuinely served and understood. This insight has profound implications for how we think about business development, economic policy, and community investment. If the most sustainable growth comes from collective ecosystems rather than individual exceptionalism, then our approach to supporting entrepreneurs needs fundamental recalibration. Instead of focusing exclusively on identifying and funding exceptional individuals, we should be investing in community infrastructure that enables more people to succeed. Instead of celebrating lone heroes, we should be recognizing and supporting the networks that make their success possible. And this shift in perspective doesn't diminish individual achievement, it contextualizes it. It acknowledges that even the most talented entrepreneurs rely on supportive communities, mentors, customers, and collaborators. No one truly succeeds alone. For high achieving Black women who have spent years in survival mode, leading teams, raising families, holding down households, carrying communities, this message resonates deeply. The exhaustion that comes from trying to do it all alone is unsustainable. The cost of constantly grinding without grounding is too high. The journey from constantly grinding to finally grounding in joy, peace, softness, and self prioritization isn't just about individual self care. It's about creating communities where everyone can thrive, where the burden doesn't fall disproportionately on any one person's shoulders, where success is measured not just by personal achievement, but by collective well being. So, where do we go from here? How do we translate these insights into meaningful change? I challenge you today to radically reimagine success in your own life and work. Ask yourself, am I building a ladder that only I can climb? Or am I creating an elevator that can lift others? Am I measuring my impact solely through personal achievement or through the strength of the communities I help build? For those with privilege and power in any form, whether through capital, connections, or knowledge, how might you use those resources not just to advance yourself, but to create ecosystems where others can thrive? What doors can you not just open, but hold open for those coming behind you? For those facing systemic barriers, how might collective approaches help you overcome challenges that seem insurmountable individually? What networks could you build or join that multiply your impact and resilience? The revolution happening among Black women entrepreneurs isn't just changing individual businesses, it's redefining what success looks like. It's creating new models of prosperity that benefit not just individual founders, but entire communities. It's proving that the most powerful path forward isn't walking alone, but moving together. This is our invitation today to abandon the myth of solo success and embrace the transformative power of collective rise, to recognize that true strength isn't found in isolation, but in connection, to understand that the most revolutionary act might not be breaking barriers yourself, but building systems where those barriers no longer exist for anyone. The future belongs not to lone heroes, but to community builders. The question is, which will you choose to be? Thank you. Thanks.